Hello and welcome. My name is Irene Daria and I'm a developmental psychologist specializing in teaching children how to read. I did my dissertation on how children learn to read and I've written a series of books on the subject. I've taught the children of many celebrities how to read as well as hundreds of other children, both privately and in public school. I've also trained teachers to apply the science of reading to their work with their students. With all those qualifications under my belt, what I'm about to tell you may surprise you. Teaching a child how to read is so easy and so much fun, and absolutely anyone can do it. All you need to know is how to teach reading the right way, and that's what I will be sharing with you today. I'm going to give you clear, step-by-step instructions on exactly what to say and do with a child, and provide you with fun worksheets, games, online activities, and little books that children will be able to read after just their first few lessons. In order to learn how to read, children need to know two things. They need to know how to sound out words, that's called phonics, and they need to know a small bank of sight words. Those are words that need to be memorized because they either don't follow phonics rules or they follow a phonics rule the child hasn't learned yet. Teaching phonics and sight words correctly means teaching them systematically. And that sounds much more complicated than it is. To teach something systematically just means you're going to be following a system or a plan so that everything that follows builds on what came before. With phonics, that means you're going to begin with teaching short vowels. Those are the sounds you hear in short three-letter words like cat, hit, hug, hop, and pet. 5 vowels, 5 short vowel sounds. Then you're going to move on to blends. Those words are a little bit longer, usually 4 letters. They still have short vowels in them, but now they have 2 consonants, either at the beginning or the end of the word, each of which gets sounded out. So those are words like clap, stop, sink, king. Then comes something called digraphs. Those are the sounds made by the letter combinations CH, SH, TH, and WH. You will hear them again with short vowels in words like chip, ship, that, or which. Then you move on to long vowels and you introduce them with short little 2-letter words like he, hi, and so. So children are moving into something different. They're moving into long vowels. And then you teach the silent E rule. And that is, again, longer words. And E is going to appear at the end of the word in a word like, let's say, kite. The E doesn't make a sound, but it makes the I say its name, or it makes its long vowel sound. So once a child, and again, those are words like cape, kite, and hope. Once a child has mastered those rules, he or she can read a word like metropolitan, which is a really long word, but look at how you will teach a child syllables. Not at this point, this is like a year's worth of phonics, but I just wanted to show you how it builds systematically. Met, the E is short, so the short vowel rule. Row, that's the 2-letter short little word where the O is long. Pal, short O. It, short I. An, short an. Put it all together, metropolitan. Amazing. If a child has never seen this word but knows his phonics rules, he'll be able to sound it out. And you can see why if a child has not mastered his or her phonics rule, this word will completely throw them and they will be stuck. So phonics is very, very important. Children do also need to learn a small number of sight words. Those should also be taught systematically, and that means teaching them in their order of frequency of use. The is the most commonly used word in the English language, so the is the first sight word that a child should learn, and we'll be talking more about sight words later. Now that you know the order to teach things in, let's begin doing it. Very exciting, big moment for you and big moment for your child or your student. The first phonics rule you will teach your child or student is short vowels. And as I've said, those are words that have short vowels in them. They're 3-letter words, short 3-letter words like cat, hip, and hop. At the moment, those are the only sounds, the short vowel sounds, that you will be teaching your child, so don't get into the whole idea of short and long. Kids find those words, short and long vowels, very confusing. So don't say to the child, today we're going to learn the sound of short A. Just say, today we're going to learn the sound that A makes, or when you get to it, the sound that I makes. Just call them the sounds. When we get to long vowels later on, we will use a different word. There's a nice, friendly way of introducing long vowels so that kids really understand what the concept is. So don't say short, just say the sound that the vowels make. And when it comes to teaching short vowels, I and all the teachers that I've trained use my book. You don't need to get it to benefit 100% from today's presentation, but sort of everything that you need is in here. And if you are interested, you can order it from my website, which is stepstoreading.com. It's book 1 in a series of 4 books. Book 1 is on short vowels and the first set of frequently used sight words. So just a little bit of a backstory. When I first began offering private reading lessons, word spread like wildfire about how well the children were learning how to read. And not just about how well the kids were reading, but about how much the kids loved their lessons. They were learning, they were having fun, and they were feeling great about themselves. So before I even had a website or business cards or even a listed business phone number, dozens of parents were calling to sign their kids up for lessons. I was following a method that now is known as the science of reading. Many other people, follow the method. But in addition to following the phonics method, I mixed in all sorts of games and online fun activities like Starfall. And I wanted my tutors to do exactly what I did in each lesson. So I felt very much that I needed to write down and tell them exactly what to say and do with a child in each lesson, very sort of step by step, exactly as I would do it. And then I saw a wonderful thing. They used my book and their students learned to read just as well as they would have if I, with my Ph.D., had been working with them. And I thought that was just miraculous. My goal now is to help as many parents and families as I can. And so I decided to publish what I do with the kids in this workbook, these workbooks, so that parents could really easily use it with their kids at home and teachers can use it really easily in a classroom. It has been used in classrooms in New York to great results. We always hear from the kids, this is fun. More than having fun, it really warmed my heart to see how beautifully they learn to read. So that said, let's take a look at what to do, what the first step is with teaching a child short vowels. You're going to begin by teaching words with short A. And the way you're going to begin is by engaging and motivating and getting the child excited about the process he's about to embark on. And you're going to do that by using a really fun website called Starfall, Starfall. It's totally free for the activities that we're going to use it for. And the first page in my book tells you exactly how to log in. Let me just briefly show you what you will find on it. There is a letter block page. You're going to click on the letter A. The letter A is introduced. You should let the child do the clicking because it engages his or her senses. They like playing and working on the computer, so let them click wherever the stars are sparkling. And I'll show you just a few of the pages in this activity. This one's my favorite. Kids love this.
Astronaut.
Fun, right?
Drag the letters to the correct basket.
It ends with a game for them to play. Every letter in that alphabet block page has a different little video and different activity, so it's a really great website for you to know about. So that's how we begin with short A, with something really fun on the computer, and then we move into reading their first short little word. You want to teach the kids that when letters are far apart from each other, they make their sounds. So again, here instructions on exactly what to say and do. I'm just going to read this page to you. Point to the letter A in the illustration above. So you would point to the letter A and ask the child, what sound does A make? And they will say ah, hopefully. Then point to the letter T and say, what sound does T make? And they will say ta, again, hopefully. If they don't, it is time to reinforce the letter sounds with them. Go back to Starfall and do the A and the T game and use magnetic letters and whatever else you may do to reinforce the letter sounds. But most kids will say ah and t. And then on the page it says in bold-faced letters is exactly what you should say to the child. So it says, say, when letters stand alone or are far apart from each other, each letter will make its own sound. And on the next page, they have their first word, which is at. And again, instructions for you on what to say and do. When A and T stand side by side, their sounds combine to make a word. Point to the word at in the illustration above, so you would point, and say, this word is at, as in I will meet you at the park, or the car stopped at the corner. Now you read it, and the child should say at. So, first word. Next, and this is part of what I meant about why kids have fun, is a board game that reinforces, it's like a worksheet in disguise. It reinforces the sounds of A and T and the word at. So the way you would play this game, and by the way, the workbook inside is black and white. If you go to my website, stepstoreading.com, you can download a free PDF of this game in color. It's very sweet and pretty, so you may want it for use at home or in your classroom. But the way you play it is you should have a die at home. So ideally use one with dots so the child can count out the number of dots when the die lands. Also good for reinforcing math skills. You roll the die. So that was a 3. Each of you should have a marker, put a marker on each space. So these are little fish, an orange fish and a plastic fish. You can use whatever you have around the house. You can use game pieces from other games. You can use erasers. You can use coins, whatever you have handy. And then, so that was a 3. You would both be on start, and then you move 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3. And you read what is in each circle that you passed. So in this case, you would read a, t, at. So this circle has the letter A, then the letter T, then the word at. And then then you go, and then let's say the child goes again. Let's say they rolled a 5. They would move 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and they would read a, t, at, t. Lots of fun, very effective. It reinforces A and T, and they learn the word at. Again, more instructions, which tell you exactly what to say and do. A page where, depending on the child's age, either the child can write in the letters, there's a letter bank down here, write in the letters, or you write the letter for them, and then they read the word that's created. So here the letter B would go, and they would then b, a, t, bat. So the next letter is C. You would write the letter C here, and the child should read k, at, cat. And then there are more worksheets. I'm not going, obviously, to go through every single worksheet, but they're very cute. They're fun. Here they have to write the word and circle the picture, that goes with the word. So here they would circle the picture of the cat for the word cat. This is mat. They would circle the mat. Hat. They would circle the hat, and so on. Here they circle the letters that make up the word that's shown in the picture, and then they play another game. So they play bingo. There are instructions for how to play bingo in case you never played it or don't remember how to play it. There are flashcards. Cut out these flashcards, stack them one on top of each other facing up. Each of you gets a game board. So flashcards, stack them on top of each other and cheat, meaning stack the cards in your child's favor, because it is fun for kids to win. It feels good. It feels terrible even if you're reading all the words, if you're losing all your bingo games. So I always stack the cards so it's not too obvious, but so it ends up that the child wins most of the games. They should definitely win the first game, and use your discretion for how many other games you'll have them win. But kids love this. When I did this pre-workbook, when everything was handwritten and I was creating all the materials, I played this with my son. We played with pennies, and he got to keep the pennies when he won, and he loved that. So that's just another thought for you. Next step, sight words. Sight words are words that need to be memorized. They are very common words that appear in most of the stories that kids are learning how to read at this stage. There are not a lot of them at this point. There really aren't a lot, but they're very, very important that children learn, because it will enable them to read a lot of stories. So let's look at what's very important about sight words, something that is often overlooked. Sight words should be taught according to their frequency of use. Makes sense, right? If words show up a lot in a story or stories, then it's very important that a child knows those words as opposed to words that don't show up very often. So the most frequently used word in the English language is the. Therefore, that is the very first sight word that children should learn to read. The next two most common words are is and on. And once kids know these three sight words, they will be able to read sentences like the cat is on the mat. Notice cat and mat follow the AT ending rule that kids have already learned. Right now, kids will be learning the word the, and only the word the, and then they'll move on to their next short A rule. So the should be the very first word that children learn to read. That typically is not what happens in classrooms. So instead, most teachers teach from something called the Dolch list, D-O-L-C-H, that's a guy's last name. It is a list of the 220 most common words that are not nouns. So the problem number one with that list, it was made in 1936, so it's a little outdated in terms of what words are appearing in stories kids are reading today. And problem number two, and a much bigger problem, is that instead of being listed in order of frequency of use, the Dolch list, which has been broken down into words kids need to learn in pre-K, kindergarten, first and second and third grade, those words are listed in alphabetical order. So let's look at what that means. I found this list online, and it is very representative of what happens. So the most common word in the English language, is all the way down here. So that is number 32 out of 40 words. So what that means is when teachers follow the Dolch list, kids will be learning words like away, come, down, funny, here, help, jump, little, before they learn the word the, which is the most important word for them to know. Is, guess where is on this list? Is a little bit better positioned. It is the pink word here, and it is number 17. But still, kids would be learning come, away, funny before they learned the word is. And on doesn't even appear on this list at all. It appears on the kindergarten list in this position, which means kids would be learning words like black, brown, came, good, have before they learned the word on. So you get the picture. Very important that sight words be taught in order of frequency of use, and that is indeed what we do in book 1. We call them power words because knowing them will increase kids' reading power right from the beginning. The man, the hat, the cat, the is used all the time. And a little tip I have for you is when you read to your child at home before bed, that time should be just for pleasure. Don't use that time for teaching, because part of becoming wonderful readers and loving to read is having that wonderful memory of mommy or daddy or another loved one reading stories to them. But when you are reading with your child and the word the appears in the story, tell the child to read just that word, only that word. Don't get motivated and have them read short A words or other words. Just have them look for the word the, and that will really reinforce the learning that they have done of the word, and it is fun for them, and it doesn't interfere with the pleasure that they're taking from having you read the rest of the story to them. So that is our first sight word, the. Next, the next phonics rule is words that end in an. So kids have learned at. This is going to already be looking a little familiar to you, and familiarity is great. It gives you confidence, it gives the child comfort. Kids love predictability in these books, and they love, oh, I did a lesson like this on the word at. Now here's the word an. So same idea, you'll do the same kind of stuff that you did with AT. You have the worksheet where you write the letter in for the kids and they read it. Here already they begin differentiating between words with T and N at the end. So here the instructions to you, you say this to the child, read each word out loud, circle the word that goes with the picture. So have your child read each word out loud, cat, can, and then they should circle the word that goes with cat. Bat, ban, they should circle bat. Fat, fan, they should circle fan. Rat, ran, they should circle rat. And so on. You get the idea. More adorable worksheets, and then, ha-ha, hip hip hooray, they read their first sentences. Big deal. But already, you see how it works? It builds systematically, and already they can read little sentences like the rat sat, pat the cat, the bat sat, the cat sat, pat the man. So big, woohoo, cause for celebration. I really recommend celebrating in a small way. That also adds to the joy of learning to read. Really celebrate each step, because kids then can see, wow, I'm making progress. Now I can read words that end in AT. I can read the word the. I can read words that end in AN. Next, you will teach them the word is. Then you play bingo with words that end in AT and AN. Kids love the bingo games. Next, they learn the word on. And then, this is a really great activity. It's called Silly Sentences. Again, directions for you on exactly what to do. You get these words. This gray block consists of sight words. The, is, and on. These are words that end in T and N. Cut them all out, and then lay them out face up on the table, and then you and the child take turns making either real sentences or silly sentences. So an example of a real sentence would be maybe the cat is on the mat. A silly sentence would be the fat pan is on the van. So pan can't be fat. Silly. Also the beginning of reading comprehension. They're paying attention to what, the sentences they're putting together. But kids get a big kick out of making silly sentences and real sentences. They really can see what they can do now. So more worksheets. They learn words that end, short A words that end with different endings. And then they play another bingo game. They really, really like it. Let them win. Let them keep the pennies. But you see how it gets bigger now? The bingo was smaller in the beginning. This would have looked very intimidating just a few lessons ago. But they can do this now. They can read all these words. I'm actually not sure if I said that from the flashcards. Have your child read the word out loud when you play bingo, and then each of you should look for the word on your board and place a marker on the board when you find the word. More sight words, as and has, power words as I call them, vocabulary, very, very important, especially if you are a teacher. I taught teachers or trained teachers, helped teachers teach reading at a school in Harlem, and the vocabulary for many of these children, some of whose parents were new to this country, or they spoke Spanish at home, vocabulary was something that we really needed to teach. They did not know what a pit was, for example. Most would not know what a yam is, a dam that holds back water. Probably all kids have no idea what a ban is, to make something illegal. So you will work on these vocabulary words with them. And then the child can read a story. I actually skipped the page where they read their first story. Big deal. Imagine being able to read a book. No matter how little it is a big deal. So the very first book that they will read is a book called Matt. It is a Bob book. This is sold as part of a set of little phonics readers. Very short, very easy. Matt sat, Sam sat, and so on. They're doing a lot of sitting. You get the idea. But they get to the end. There, you should read end to them, the end. They are thrilled to be able to read the story. They will also be able to read a story called Sam, which is in Bob books. Again, don't get over ambitious with them. If the child wants to read it, let them. If it doesn't come from the child, save the story for the next lesson, because that feeling of celebration will continue into the next lesson. Oh, look, wow, you can read another story, and they'll feel really wonderful about themselves. So again, throughout the book, you're told which stories your child can read, where to find them. There are also stories on Starfall. Again, I'm not going to show you, although I'm tempted to, because it's really adorable. But for the sake of time, I will. They're very cute. Okay, so give me a minute. Okay, so let me show you how this works. You are on Starfall's main page, and just like before with the letter sounds, you're going to click on kindergarten. And then underneath the ABC blocks, you will see there's a picture of a little mouse, and it says Learn to Read. Click on Learn to Read. And then you get these columns. In the center column, it says Book, and you will see the stories. The first 5 stories have to do with the 5 short vowel rules that children need to learn. Over here are games. And then next to each of those stories is a game that they can play using that particular short vowel. So up here is a story called Zach the Rat. To the left are games that have to do with short A, but let's just take a look at Zach the Rat and why these stories are so cute. So now it's pointing to click on the arrow.
Ah.
Again, you hear the sound. Now, have the kids read the story. Do not have them click on the word because
Zach.
if they do, it reads the word for them and you want the kids reading the word, themselves. So have them read the words. Zach is a rat. And then look, this is what makes this really fun. If you click on the picture, Zach does stuff. So very cute. They love it. Again, they hear ah. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Let's go back to Zach. On his can. So Zach sat on a can. The child should read that. Again, if you click on the picture, or Zach, things happen to Zach. Again, the sound is reinforced. And again, Zach does stuff. So you get the idea. I won't go through the whole story, but they are really very, very, very cute stories. And that brings us to the sound of short I, which is, a big deal. They're on to their second phonics rule. If you notice, the book is divided into steps. I recommend following that division. Don't try to do too much in one sitting. I have seen and experienced with my own children, if they do too much at once and then nothing for a few days, they tend not to remember it as well as they would if they do a little bit at a time. So a little bit at a time is really good. And so now they're starting the sound of short I. When you begin a new vowel with them, always review the vowel that came before. So, say to them, okay, today we're going to learn the sound of short I, and let's listen to it on the computer. Again, all these instructions are here for you. You're going to listen to the I on the letter block page. And then, again, another thing that I want to show you. If you go to the letter block page, I had mentioned that there are circles down below that have vowels in them. They're right here. For I, you click on the circle that has the I in it. And a song plays.
The big hit went into the mitt. Can you hear short I in it? The big hit went into the mitt. Can you hear short I in it? Now I want to hear you sing it.
You can use this in your classrooms too. You can project it onto your whiteboard. Kids love it. Now I want to hear you sing it. They do sing it. You can all sing it as a class for as long as you're working on short I. Really fun, very effective because it helps them learn that sound of short I. And you will now progress through the book. Again, this is going to now be familiar. They're going to learn it. In the section before, they began with at and an. Here they're beginning with it. So lots more worksheets. Then they learn the word in. Again, instructions for you on exactly what to say and do. They learn the sight word to. They play bingo with N and T at the end of words with short I. They learn words with P and G at the end of short I words. Now they can read another story. It's called Jig and Mag in Bob Book Set 1. I wonder if I forgot to tell you about a story. I did, and I'm sorry. In the workbook, it will tell you when the kids can read the story. This is a big deal because it looks like a bigger book. So this is back in the short A section. They can read this book. This is a set of readers called Primary Phonics. It's available from Educators Publishing Service. Again, I have no affiliation with them. I will list all of these resources in the description box below the video so that if you want them, you know where to find them. You can also ask your library to get these for you. You can ask the library to also get you the Bob book. So most libraries should be able to, if they don't have them, request them for you from other libraries. Great book, sweet book. Tab is a cat. Tab has a pal. The pal is Mac. Mac is a rat. Mac has a cap. Tab has a nap on the mat. Mac has a nap on Tab. Not, Tolstoy, but wonderful for these beginning readers. Imagine how exciting it feels to them to be able to read this little story. If you own these books, let them color in the pictures, let them really make them their own, so that they have a sense of ownership and a sense of pride. Really wonderful stories for them to read. The next sight word is was. Then again, little very early reading comprehension. Does the sentence make sense? The tan cat was, and they have two words here to choose from, fat or win. You say to them which word makes sense to put on the line. Obviously it would be fat, and then they can read the tan cat was fat. But did you hear what I just said? They can read. They can read. They can read this. Big deal for them. No frustration, no reading stories with words they've never seen before. There's a sense of comfort. Everything about this feels good to them. As they learn, as they know more, we can do more adorable things. Here is a game board. Again, instructions for you how to play, but it's the same way that we played the A and at game. You put a marker on start. Both of you roll a die, and then you read as many words as you rolled. So bat, bit, fat, fit, sat, sit. Alternation of the A and I in the words, so very good practice. Different endings at the end of the word, so again they differentiate between that. Very fun and very helpful in terms of their learning. They can read another story from Primary Phonics, which again, it's like a big boy or a big girl book called The Tin Man. You see the most frequently used word in our language. Tin, short I, man, short A. Has, they have learned as a sight word. Is, they have learned as a sight word. There are 3 thes on this page. You can see how common it is. 2 thes on this page, 2 on this page, and all sorts of short A and short I words. A and I words, the bank of sight words that they've learned, priceless, wonderful. Very happy child, very happy you teaching your child how to read. And speaking of very happy you, now they learn the sound of short U. They're on to their 3rd phonics rule. Big deal. You're going to do the ABC letter blocks. You're going to do the song on Starfall. And then you're going to read them this funny cartoon. So this is a funny story, actually. This is when the very first child I ever taught how to read professionally, I had taught her short A and short I, and we had done just a little bit of short U. And as I said, it's important to review, begin each lesson with a review. So we began our next lesson, which was going to continue short U, and I said to her, okay, what sound does A make? And she said, ah. And then I said, what sound does I make? And she said, eh. And I said, what sound does you make? And she said, And I said, that's right. And she said, what's right? And I said, the sound. That is the sound that short U makes. And she said, I didn't remember the sound, but now I always will. I'll just say, and I'll never forget it again. So I wrote that up as a little cartoon to share with your kids. They think it's very funny. They will start saying that U makes the sound, and that's okay. Let them do it. You know, humor and laughter is a wonderful thing. So now they're up and running and they're going to learn the sound that U makes. So again, you're going to write in these letters here. They can, if they are interested in writing it. If they're not, don't force it. You're not teaching your child to write at this point. You are teaching them how to read. So you can write the letter and have them read the letters. More worksheets with you. Lots of fun worksheets. Let them color in the pages if they want to. Here, this is great, what a difference one letter makes, and the instructions that you will say to them. Read the words in each row out loud. Circle the words in each row that are the same. So this row has bug, bun, and bug. So they should circle bug and bug. But, you know, point out to them that just changing one letter at the very end makes a completely different word. More bingo. More stories. Tells you exactly what story the child can read. And now another board game. Now, can you see how everything is beginning to build so systematically and beautifully? This board game consists of short A, short I, and short U words, so that they practice differentiating between the letters, they have fun doing it, and they continue to become more and more masterful. Again, a vocabulary page. And then, look at how we're zipping through this. They are going to learn the sound of short E. If you were here in person, I would say, okay, now what should they do? How should they start? And you would most likely say they should start with the alphabet blocks, the alphabet song. Then they're going to do worksheets. Do you see? You are now a master at teaching children how to read. You know exactly what to do. And doesn't that feel great? I know when I was looking for workbooks before I was a psychologist and needed to teach my son, I would go into Barnes & Noble. This was a while ago, so there were not the resources that are available online. But even if I look now online, so many of the workbooks, you know, phonics, and one page will be A, and then the next page will be I, and then the next page will be a consonant, and then there will be some other activity, and it's all jumbled together and doesn't build systematically. This really, really builds systematically, which is important because one, that's the best, the really only way of teaching reading effectively, and because it makes the kids feel great. They are really, really aware of what they have learned and can do. Oh, and then the classic bed trick. So children at this age often have a hard time differentiating between the letters B and D. They get them mixed up. Perfectly normal. Our brains, we are not born as human beings knowing that we read from left to right. Hebrew is read from right to left. Our brains wire themselves according to the language that we're learning, and they wire themselves according to, you know, being able to differentiate letters that look the same but are reversed. So if your child is reversing letters in kindergarten and first grade and second grade, don't worry, perfectly normal. But that said, a great way of teaching them to differentiate between the B and D is to use the bed trick. This, if you notice, you know, B has the line on this side of the letter, and so that's this side of the bed. D is here. So in the book you teach them that trick. And then they play a game with words that begin with B. So right away they get to practice differentiating the B and D, and you can put that to work. And you can also now use that whenever you come across a B and D trick word in stories that they read. So I know I said that very quickly because I'm getting worried about how long we are spending together. I hope it's not too much of your time, but pretend this is a bed. B is the first letter, so it's on this side of the word. And the bedpost sticks up just like a B's line sticks up here. And a D sticks up here at the end of bed, just like the line sticks up in a D. So they should put their hands over a B or a D on the page, and then according to whether the line is on this side or that side, they will be able to tell if the letter is a B or a D. And next, short O. Again, alphabet blocks, letter circle. You will do similar worksheets to what you did in the lessons before. There is a bingo game, more stories, lots of stories now. They can read in Bob Books 4 stories. One is called Dot, then Mac, Dot and Mitt, Dot and the Dog. On Starfall, they can read a story called Mox's Shop. They learn another sight word, 4. They have another board game that uses O words along with A, I, U, and O. And more vocabulary. At the end of the book, there is a chart that reviews the sight words, or power words as we call them, that are in this book. Make sure your child can read these words. And then you celebrate. They get a diploma, I can read, and they really can read. It's a certificate of accomplishment presented to and fill in the child's name and date, and you should sign it because you should be very proud of yourself. You were a big part. I'm actually tearing up because I know what this feels like as a mother. You were a big part of teaching your child how to read, and that is the greatest gift that you could ever give your child. So that brings us to the end of this presentation on short vowels, how to teach your child to read. I will be making another video on blends and another one on digraphs and another one on silent E. Those are the 4 books in my Steps to Reading series. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and it was a pleasure, and best of luck teaching your child how to read. Take care.